Hi guys, welcome to Grow Up. Today we've got a guest that you guys have been waiting on for a week now. We've got Sabella and little Michael DiCarlo. If you don't know the story already, which I think most of you do, he was the kid who went and he went to the mall. He was supposed to meet Santa. It turned out there was an imposter there. And this imposter, Commie Santa, told him he could not have a Nerf gun. I saw this video, a bunch of my followers sent it to me and they were like, you have to see this. I checked it out and I was incensed. As you all know, Christmas is like my Super Bowl. I am probably one of the biggest fans of Santa ever. And so I could spot right away that this was an imposter. And so I reached out to Real Santa and I was able to get Michael's mom's phone number. We reached out, we connected, and we figured out how we could get get things going and get a huge drive of Nerf guns sent out. I also reached out to Donald Trump Jr. He retweeted it, and we ended up having just a wild response. So thank you guys so much for coming on our show. Could you tell us how this week has been for you guys?
Crazy and busy, to say the least. How's it been for you, Mike? Crazy. yeah it's like looking back now that things have settled a little bit, it was wild. It's still hard.
Has he gotten to shoot a lot of Nerf guns this week?
Have you? Yeah. What's your favorite one so far?
Let me bring it down.
You want to bring it? Okay.
All right, go get it. That's the best way to do it.
Okay, go ahead. Your sister's sleeping. Shh.
We're gonna get to see the coolest one that he got. So what can you tell us, about the response you've gotten and how it's been for your family?
It's been pretty overwhelming. We're normally pretty private people, so it's been a little hard to swallow, being on the news and having people call us and ask us for our opinion, and it's totally different than our normal day-to-day life. My husband doesn't even have social media, so it's been really different for him. But it's really cool because something. Oh, it's not a Nerf gun, Davy Crockett. So, Michael seems to be enjoying all the extra presents, but we didn't want him to think it was completely normal to stay home from school and get a new Nerf gun every day. So we've tried to get him back to normal as quickly as possible.
So the response, though, has just been incredible. At this point, you guys have gotten over like 500 Nerf guns. And I think one of the coolest parts of the story is that too many times in this day and age, negative things happen and they get like people say or do negative things in response. Instead, I feel like everybody rallied around and made something really positive happen. And not only is Michael's Christmas been better because of it, but you guys you've helped make hundreds of kids' Christmases into something more joyful. So what can you tell us about where this has all gone? Because I know that you've done some, local donations with some of this stuff, and then other ones have gone to police and fire families. What can you tell us about that?
So, the Salvation Army, we called around in the Salvation, we were considering there were 3 charities in the area, and Salvation Army just happened to be the only one to pick up the day we were calling. So between them, Toys for Tots, and there was another charity. So we're going to set some aside and hopefully get some to Toys for Tots before Christmas. It was just depending on how many that came in. But about 150 Nerf blasters and a couple other random toys, a bunch of extra darts that went to the Salvation Army, police and fire families. And then there's a sportsman's club. Yes, hold on. There's a sportsman's club that my father-in-law belongs to, and they're going to donate some to the members' kids that are there too.
That's awesome. All right, you want to show us your favorite Nerf gun?
Here, come on. Get in you could see right there. Which one is it? Oh, this is his favorite revolver, but this is not a Nerf gun.
Very
Wait
cool.
a minute. What's that? Let me see that one. I think that's the one that we sent you.
This one?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's the one we sent.
You know what? My husband was the one. I'm much more organized than he is, and he just, ripped through boxes. Oh, I think it is because this one came to the house.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, no.
Mike, did you say,
I
you know
thought
what? You need to say thank you.
Thank you.
No.
Oh, you're so welcome. It honestly, all I did was I helped fill out the paperwork. Santa actually told me which one to pick. So that was probably why it ended up being your favorite. I will say, you know, I talked to Don Jr. and he thinks you guys are so awesome. I tried to get him to come on today, but he's out hunting right now, so he wasn't able to come on. But he just thinks the story's so awesome. He watched the video. He thought that you guys seem like such a cool family, and hopefully we'll be able to you know, find some way to get him to say hi in the future. So tell us, you know, what do you think has there been any difficult side to this so far?
You know, there's some Michael, just a couple minutes. Shh.
I think I just found the difficult part. There's been a lot. Have you gotten shot with the Nerf gun?
Oh, that was before this. Him and my husband just meet the target. So they chase me around the house. It's actually, you know, kind of funny, but at least I get to play with the boys, right? So, no, the hardest part is just the negative comments on social media. It's really sad, some of the things people are saying about my 4-year-old son. And, you know, I can handle them saying things about me or, you know, but just about him. Like someone said today that he should have been at the Sandy Hook shooting, like one of the kids, you know, and that's just really sad that someone would say that and think it's okay to say that about a 4-year-old. Yes, Michael. Go ahead.
I think that person needs to have somebody with a Nerf, you know, use them as a Nerf target.
Right.
Maybe
I mean, it's very sad. You know, the things people say that we're doing this for attention. I'm really not. The attention is almost the worst part of it for me. You know, you know, like I said, we're very private people, so it's hard to swallow the attention, really. So it was just a hard year for a lot of people, and we're like, why not turn lemonade from lemons, you know?
Yeah. I will say this, you guys have made a lot of people's year better. You know, how many people have reached out and just
definitely
said, like,
and just hearing about the story too, like, just has brought a lot of people joy and hope, and it's just awesome to that you're willing to share that with everybody. So thank you.
You know, every year, ever since he was little, I would tell my husband or my mom, you know, because we're fortunate enough to get Michael pretty much everything on his Christmas list within reason, you know, or, you know, Santa. So there's a lot of kids that don't have that. And I want him to know how blessed he is. And that's hard to do for a 2 and 3 and 4-year-old. But I think this is exactly, you know, what we can tell him about it every year and remind him that it's something we can do, even if it's just us going to the store and buy a Nerf gun and donate one to the Salvation Army or something, just to remind him that it's better to give than receive. And that's hard for him to understand now. But I think as he gets older and we remind him of this every year, it'll, you know, really resonate with him.
Yeah.
I think what a lot of people wondered about is they wondered, you know, was in the moment when it happened, what was your internal reaction?
I was in shock. I thought, Michael, on or off?
It's a Christmas show behind you. He's adding the production value.
I'm sorry, Michael, stop.
No, it's okay. We have kids. We know how it goes.
So, initially, I almost thought he was joking. Well, at first I thought he just heard Michael say gun. So you can hear me in the video correct him and say Nerf gun. Yeah. And then when he said no, I think if I remember correctly, I kind of like was laughing under my mask. Like, is he joking? And then, you know, you can see the look on my son's face, like he was fighting back tears. And that wasn't a spoiled brat crying. It wasn't because he was told no. He thought this was the real Santa, and that is all he wanted for Christmas. Yeah. So I think it was crushing for him. And he's 4. He's a baby. People need to remember that. He's not 10 years old and, you know, kind of has an idea that, you know. So after I saw him fighting back tears, I just wanted to get to him and calm him down and get him out of there, because yelling at Santa or getting upset would have only made Michael more upset.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know you
Right.
wanted to, though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What did your husband say when you told him what happened and showed him
Well,
the
I
video?
called him right away. Michael, sit down, please. You know what? He was in school all day today, and he's like a wild animal when he gets home. So, no, I called my husband, and he's like, "What did you say to him?" I said, "Well, I didn't say anything." And he's like, "You didn't say anything to him. You need to go back there and yell at him." And I was like, "Well, it's too late now. I can't." You know. So, but there were other kids in line, and I didn't want to. I'm sorry, and I didn't want to yell at him and ruin their experience. So, you know, I think how it happened. Looking, if someone told me I would have been in that situation, that's not how I thought I would have reacted. But
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think actually you did a kind of an
it's-
admirable
yeah, it's kind of a hard,
reaction. Yeah, it's a
hard situation to weigh. So were you able to like call the manager, or I don't know who runs things over at the mall, North Pole, but
well, they were a third party vendor for the mall. We found out later. So when we went up, you know, they did take pictures because it's my baby's first Christmas. So I'm like, maybe I can salvage this a little bit and get a picture of them. I mean, you could see it all over his face. He was crying. He was all red. So the pictures did not turn out well at all. So we get up to the counter, and my mom was about to pay, and I was like, "Mom, they look terrible. Like, we don't need these. Let's just go. I don't want to pay $50 or whatever it was for these pictures." And you know, they ended up giving us the disc. So I haven't even looked at them yet, but I mean,
Yeah.
well, I think it's awesome.
so
what
they
you guys
did, you know, they asked what had happened, and sorry, I forgot your question. They asked what had happened,
Mhm.
and I told them that he asked for a Nerf gun. Santa said no, and you know, the look on our face was like, ugh. So that's why they gave us the disc for free. But
Well, that was nice.
And they did fire him, right?
I think the
what I
mall
was
said he
told.
resigned. You know, I
Yeah.
don't exactly know what happened, and I didn't follow up, but I think they pulled him shortly after because my mom posted the video. I mean, not for attention, not thinking it was going to be viral. It was like, hey, you know, if your child's asking for a Nerf gun, don't go to this mall.
This mall.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it just blew up. We were watching it, the views just creeping up and up and up, and it was really crazy to see. And at that point, it was, you know,
It
Yeah.
took on a life of its own.
right. I'm sorry, what?
It took on a life of its own at that point.
Yes.
What's interesting is sort of the underpinning of this whole thing is that clearly that guy was afraid of guns, you know, and I think that in itself, it's just an interesting sort of societal note of where we're at, because never in the last 40 years would you have had this happen. You know, this is a total construct of the 2020 that we're living in, where everything's offensive, and if I don't like it, you're not allowed to like it. Like,
Right.
as far as all that goes, how do you see how it happened? You know, is that how you feel?
You know, I think everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but it doesn't mean you have to push it on other people. You know, we have our own opinions. I think now people know where we stand politically, but up until now, I mean, we talk about it with our friends and people we're comfortable with, but it's just, you know, I have tons of friends who are liberal. I have tons of friends who are conservative. And it's not something I accept people for what they believe, and they hopefully accept me for what I believe. Even if we don't agree, we can still be friends. You know, so I don't go to my girlfriend's house and tell her, you know, I don't agree with who she voted for or what she does, or, you know, so it's not Santa's job to tell my son he can't have a Nerf gun, which is quite frankly a mainstream toy. You know, it's not. It's asking for a BB gun, and not that there's even anything wrong with that.
Yeah,
Right.
Santa gave a BB gun to our oldest daughter last year. I was going to say, you know, it is kind of a dead giveaway when you say that you believe people can have different opinions and be friends and stuff. That's a dead giveaway that you're a Republican, just FYI. That's where we've gotten in 2020, which is kind of crazy.
Right. Well, interesting. We were just telling me about that with my daughter when I got her ears pierced. That's what she just wanted for her birthday, to get her ears pierced. And with the injection of the leftist, you know, their viewpoints, putting it on others, is, you know, she was getting her ears pierced, and I took her to a tattoo shop because it's more hygienic and it heals faster, right? The way they do it. And so she said, so why are we doing this instead of the gun? And he said, oh, all guns are bad, so we don't use guns. All guns are bad. And I'm like, that's not your place to say. You know, we're just here to get our ears pierced. So this happens all the time. I'm sure this hasn't been your first situation where somebody's trying to put their beliefs, you know, project that onto you.
Well, you know, we kind of, yeah, a little bit, yes, because, you know, like I said, my husband's a cop, and a lot of our friends are cops and firemen, a lot of our family, you know, we all kind of have the same viewpoints. And it doesn't, like I said, I have friends that don't, but we all kind of just let each other be. So we never really get into heated debates with friends who have different viewpoints. So life is kind of easy and good. You know, we don't have these political arguments. So
I think in that circle, it's a lot easier. You know, like in that circle of service and first responders, I think that there's a lot bigger problems than politics. So I would think that politics would be less of a divide, especially given the fact that, like, you know, the pressures that have been on police over the last, you know, couple of years, especially. I don't think that they're all thinking very differently from one another about what's happening, because they can see what the effect is on their own job. So that's an interesting point, you know, but I do think, you know, like you said, this stuff is injected into so many different parts of our lives at this point. That piercing artist is just very lucky Dad didn't take her that day. But yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much
for sharing this with us. And, you know, we're just so happy that you guys were able to donate, you know, such a beautiful Christmas story.
It's awesome.
Thank you so much for having us and for sharing our story, and, you know,
definitely
spread it so more kids could get a little bit extra Christmas joy this year.
Absolutely. We're so excited about the outcome, and, you know, we'll keep sharing the updates with people on how it's going. It's so cool what has turned out to happen here. You know, we took a real negative and turned it into something really beautiful.
Yeah. And they keep coming in, so I'll keep you updated.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Sabella.
All right. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.